Well, g'day fishers. Welcome back to another Port Stephens Fishing Report. Another big report this week. I'll try and keep it short and sweet. I won't babble on too much, but plenty to report. Now, this week, plenty of good flatties around. Young kids such as Jay and KO, our regulars in the shop here, doing really well on the flatties. Some nice fish up over 80 centimetres. Those young lads are fishing soft plastic, majorly the squidgy soft plastics in the fish, and also the prawn wriggler tails as well, doing really well. Getting really good fish up over 80 centimetres, but the key to it, the boys are saying they're going fishing close to the rocks, hard against that structure where the rock meets the sand, and that's where they're finding the big lizards at the moment. So some really, really good flatties around at the moment. I spoke to Jace from DVP Lures. He was fishing hard bodies up in the shallows, up in Tilligary Creek. Again, got some really nice fish up that way as well. So some really nice flatties starting to kick around at the moment, which surprisingly for this time of year with the amount of traffic on the water, there are some good lizards around. So if you're keen on doing that, get those good tides at the moment. We've got some really good early morning and late afternoon tides, and that's the key to it at the moment. Plenty of whiting around, lots of whiting, live worms, light leader, light sinker, any of the beaches, Shoaly through up to Soldiers Point. Those beaches, even over the other side, Jimmy's, Pindymal area, holding really, really good sand whiting at the moment, but they're right up in the shallows. So no need to cast New Zealand, just lob it in there. Most of the kids are catching them because mum and dad are throwing their big sinkers to New Zealand. Kids are just throwing it in there and catching the better whiting. So there's a red hot tip. Don't cast far and you'll catch some really good sand whiting at the moment. A few good Mulloway in the bay as well. Those tides are really good for Mulloway this week, so if you're keen on doing that, the old haunts such as the Middle Island at the back of Soldiers Point there, out the front of Fane Cove, any of that deeper water holding some Mulloway, but the shallower water too. I heard a whisper there's a couple of good fish on both the breakwalls, the Anchorage and Nelson Bay breakwall, so definitely worth a shot this week. Off the rocks this week, it's mainly been guys spinning the rocks for bonito. It's been a few bonito around. They're not big bonito, but there has been bonito around. Some kings around as well. So for guys spinning the rocks, not big kings, mainly rats, but they have been there off the rocks at the moment. That's about it on the pelagic action at the moment. After this suddenly, it might be worth throwing a few baits in the washers for a few snapper. But that's the rocks in general at the moment. We're sort of that in-between season where we've got that warmer water, waiting for the pelagics to turn up. And your bread and butter species sort of wane a little bit, but definitely worth a shot off the rocks. The beaches, definitely worth a shot on the beaches. It seems like the northern beaches like Fingal and Samurai are holding a little bit better water, warmer water, until this southerly comes through this weekend. That'll push that warm water in. But there's been some cracking whiting off the beach. I saw some photos of some really, really nice fish. One customer had 8 fish, and they're all over 30 centimetres, between 30 and 37 centimetres. So absolute cracking whiting for off the beach at the moment. Live worms doing the trick, that's for sure, off the beach. A mixture of a few brim in between as well. There have been a few tailor about, but not many. But this weekend will definitely be worth, later in the weekend, be worth a shot on a Mulloway off the beach as well. So that's the beaches in a nutshell. Now, offshore, some really good fish coming in offshore. The reefs are fishing really well. Got a little bit uphill current at the moment, which is typical this time of year, but that suddenly will sort it all out over the weekend. Some good trag around on main reefs such as the Big Gibber, the Outer 21, the Outer V, the Inner V not so much, and then back down south you'll find some really nice trag. If you really want to catch a nice snapper, I suggest you get up early, first light, throw a whole slimy in the wash, and you should find some snapper around, especially the front of Fingal Island, Little Island and Big Island there, but it's a really, really first light thing. It's got to be just as that light's creeping up, so definitely worth a shot. If you want to chase a snapper, again, that deeper water's fishing better. Those bait schools out in that deeper water are holding bigger snapper. The best idea there, if you haven't got much wind, just run a ball sinker, like a size 4 or size 5 ball sinker, hard up against some gang hooks, throw a pilly out, even a slab of slimy, and just drift it down. Best way to catch a big red this time of year. But it's just trag out in those deeper reefs, and there's actually a few Mulloway. Spoke to the boys off Nelson Bay Charters. They had a good one yesterday, catching some really nice Mulloway and some good trag as well. So the reef fishing is doing pretty well at the moment. But the big news, again, this week, smaller black marlin on the inshore reefs. Although the bite waned a little bit this week, hasn't been as many. I think after the sun it'll kick in, it'll be a few more fish there. On average, 2 or 3 a day for most boats. Some boats, such as Shane, getting 5 before lunchtime, doing really well. So there's just pockets of fish, they'll stream in, but it did slow a little bit during the week, and I think with that nor'easter and that water rolling over a little bit, 24 last week, back to 22 this week, and expected with that nor'easter, but the fish are still in there. You just got to fish light leaders. think outside the square a little bit as well. So if you see a lot of boats in one area that are sort of going around in a roundabout, maybe just offshoot and do something different. Fish do swim, and you find that you might find a patch of your own fish, that's for sure. But find the bait, you'll find the fish. So still a few inshore black marlin. There was a bit of a bite on the shelf as well. The boys on session caught 7 fish last week, mixture of blacks and stripes, but that bite seemed to wane to the south there now. But it's still early, it's only January, so don't get too excited, but it's good to see that we've got an early marlin bite, and I think it's only going to get better. Believe it or not, it will get better. So there you go. That's it for this week. That's our fishing report. We'll speak next week.